Well, hello, welcome again to a reading through of Iliad, book 16. And, well, perhaps trigger warning here, I do warn you the bits coming up in the next few lines that we're going to be reading in this section are fairly unpleasant to read. There are lots of what I would call a catalogue of killings, and that's quite graphic in various places. It's all part of the story of the Iliad, and in fact Homer doesn't glory in these killings. He presents them pretty viciously, and they're meant to make us feel, I think, a degree of sympathy and also an understanding of the horrors of war. So anyway, I'll just translate them as we have them here. So the Nestoridae de homen utas atumion oxeiduri. So the sons of Nestor. Now one of the sons of Nestor is Antilochus, who's going to get mentioned here. So the sons of, in regard to almost the sons of Nestor, homen, one of them, Antilochus, autas, from autao, this is the aorist this time, he stabbed Atumnion, or Atumnios I think it is, with his sharp spear. Di aelese, from dia and elauno, so it's to pass through. So this again is that aorist from elauno. You get various forms of this. So the bronze spear passed through, and then with a genitive, lapares, the flank. So his flank, erape, and he fell pro paroithi, in front of them. So he fell straight down in front. Maris, autoskeda, again with this idea of being close at hand. He oruse, he leapt against him, he rushed against Antilochus with his spear. Kolothes, having been made angry over his brother, because his brother's just been killed. So having been being angry over his brother. Stas, having stood pros, then in front of, this is a genitive here, from necros, having stood in front of the corpse. But Thrasymedes, godlike Thrasymedes, we've had this verb in the previous bit, ephthe from phthino, he got in first. So godlike Thrasymedes got in ahead of him. Orexamenos, we had that one before. It has the sense of to reach, so reaching out for. But it, as in 314, it probably has that sense of he struck him. And it does seem to have an object down here. So he struck him before he stabbed, understand, Antilochus. He struck him, literally having reached out for him. So if you take it as reached out, then you've got to supply a verb to strike here, because that's the omon afar. So afar really is forthwith, in his shoulder, immediately in his shoulder. But just to do this bit again, so then godlike Thrasymedes got in ahead of him. Forestall is another old word for that. Forestalled him, attacking or reaching out, perhaps attacking or striking him in forthwith in his shoulder, before he stabbed, understand, Antilochus. Ud apharmetan, from apharmetano, nor did he miss. But the acoke, this is the tip of the spear. Now the prum non is going with the brachiona, so it's so the tip of the spear Now the main verb is droops here, yes, from it's from drupto, which is to literally, and it's going with the apo. Well, the apo's coming after it. So drupto by itself means to tear or strip. So the point of the spear tore the base of his brachone, the base of his arm. We've had this pronoun adjective before. The base of his brachione, of his arm, it tore it from muonon, from the muscles. This is the genitive. Back up in 315, we had up here muon, which was the nominative. This is now the genitive's third declension noun. So it tore it away from his muscles. Apodostion acris eraxe. Now, the apo, and this is from apo arasso, literally it means to smote off. So we'd probably say it tore it asunder from astion, the bone, and then acris is utterly or completely. So funny, this couple of lines here. So it's the tip of the spear, sheared off, or tore off, so sheared off the base of his arm from the muscles, and the bone. No, sorry, I think it's the tip, and completely shattered the bone, despite the apod. This is accusative, and utterly shattered the bone. And dupe sen peson from pipto, having fallen, he made a thud, from dupio. So he fell with a thud, we'd say. Literally, having fallen, he made a thud noise, he made a noise. And this standard phrase again, darkness, the kata is a preverb with kalupto, darkness covered his two eyes. So no min this time. So darkness covered his two eyes. Thus, the toe is the two men, the two brothers. This is a dual participle from, damnami, or one of those verbs, damnao. So the two brothers, understood, were tamed by the two brothers, that is, Thrasymedes and Antilochus. And the two of them went, this is a dual from Bino, the two of them went into Erebos. Well, another word for Hades, really. It means the dark place. So they went to Erebos, and these were the noble comrades of Sarpedon. Very important character in the Iliad. We'll hear more of him later. So the noble comrades of Sarpedon. Sons, the two, was plural here, but it's the two sons who were acontistai, who were javelin throwers, spearsmen, perhaps you could say. The two sons, the spearsmen, two sons of Amisodaros, who, in fact, Threpsin, this is from Trepho, nice example of Grassmann's law here. It's Trepho, original Threpho, and the aspirate in phi turns the aspirate theta into a tor, so you get Trepho, but then in the aorist the phi is gone, so the initial aspirate reappears. You get Threpse for ethrepse. So he reared the chimera, and the epithet here is amemakitan. The etymology of this is uncertain, various meanings ranging from huge or raging or monstrous. So it's who reared the monstrous chimera. Now the chimera and also this word again appear in Book 6. It's the same expression. And he was kakon, an evil thing to all men. So a bane to all men. Ias And Ajax, the son of Oileus, having rushed against Cleobulus, Hele he took, now this is to take here, he took him alive. Hele for Hele from Hyrio. So he took him alive. Blafthente, he, well, perhaps it means being injured, but it's used in Homer in the sense of entangled or impeded here. And kataklonon is in the melee, in the noise of battle, in the throng. So something like he was entangled or impeded in the melee. But he loosed his strength. Plaxas from Placer, having struck him in the neck with the copienta xiphe, with his hilted sword. Cope is the hilt, the place where you hold the sword, the hilt of the sword. So having struck him in the neck with the hilted sword, and the whole sword, huper thermanthe, this is huper plus thermino, was made hot with blood. It's very gory, as I mentioned at the beginning here. So all of the sword was made hot with blood. Ton de katosi elebe, now the porphyrios, dark, often means purple, but it's here I think it's just dark death, and mighty fate, strong fate. Now the cat goes with the lambano, so it's catalambano, so it's took him with respect to his two eyes. So we might say descended upon his two eyes. So dark death and mighty or strong fate took him, or came down upon his two eyes. Now, Painelios is a nominative, that's the guy's name. Painelios and Lycone ran together there from both sides, both two different sides, so they run together at it towards one another, and we get explanatory gar. For aimbroton is an irregular aorist form. It's connected with hamatano. It's the actual explanation of where the beta comes from and so on is quite complicated, but it is actually from hamatano, or connected with. It's an irregular aorist. So it's for they had missed one another with their spears. Both a contisan, this is from acontisdo, it's the to shoot off their spears. Milion, word meaning useless, it's an adverb here meaning uselessly. There's an adjective melios meaning useless. So both of them threw their spears in vain or uselessly. The two of them then ran together xiphesin with their swords. So they've thrown their spears, they both missed. They've now run together. We get this verb again, sun edramon, from sun treco. Treco, the aorist of treco is edramon. They ran together with their swords, and there Lycone on the one hand, Elasen from Elauno again. So it's really to strike here. He struck the horn of the horse-haired helmet, and the amphi I think goes with, it's almost adverbial here, the kaulon. Kaulon is the hilt of the sword. There are various interpretations here, I think. I took it as the hilted sword, the sword with its hilt. Eraste is to smash again, so was smashed all around. It's a funny expression here, and there's different ways of rendering it. I'm just going to say that the phasgenon, which is just another word for xiphos, so the sword with its hilt, so the hilt of the sword perhaps was smashed amphi all around, but he, that's Panelios, that's that nominative again, he struck him, understood, well, he's from thano, to strike, he struck the neck just below the ear, and the whole sword passed inside. And this is rather gruesome, this bit here. The whole sword passed within. Skethe is from echo. It's an aorist form. It's a form from connected with echo. And literally all the skin held in place, but the head, para a earthe, this is from para plus airo. Literally, well, so I missed the hoion here. So I think it's something like only the skin held in place, but the head, well, to translate this as hung to one side. So in other words, he's cut his head off basically, and there's just the skin holding it there. Hupeluonto, guia. Neuter plural verb, this happens sometimes in Homer, so his limbs were loosed. So that was the end of him. And Meriones kikes, this is from kikano, sort of to run. So for having run, it is an aorist passive, but participle without the theta, but it's being with active meaning here, I think. So Meriones running with his swift feet, nuxe from nusso, he stabbed Acamas in the right shoulder, just as he, this is a future participle from epibino, as he was about to mount, to set foot upon, literally, so he's about to mount the hippone. Now, of course, this is the horses, but it's metonymy again, it's the part for whole, so it really, you translate this as the chariot, because these Homeric heroes don't ride horses, they ride chariots which are drawn by horses. But you often get hippos used in the sense of the chariot by metonymy. Let's do that bit again quickly. So Meriones, running with his swift feet, he stabbed Acamas in the right shoulder as he was about to mount the chariot. And he fell from the chariot, and the kata goes with the kekut from katakuo. Aklus is a mist. So literally a mist poured down over his eyes. Idomenius, now we need the verbs on the next page. It's nuxe, so he, from nusso again, so Idomenius stabbed Eurymantis with his pitiless bronze, i.e. pitiless bronze spear, catastoma in the mouth. This bit here is particularly gory. And the spear, ex eperesi, it passed right through, so the bronze spear passed anti-crew right through, and then Nerthen with beneath, and then this is his brains, so beneath his, it passed beneath his brain, or his brains, and the white ostia, the white bones, literally. Chiase from chiasdo, to break. So the white bones broke asunder, and his teeth were rattled. This is from Tinasso again. This is this then for theosan, third person plural. So his teeth literally rattled out, so it came out of his head presumably, and his eyes, so both his eyes, eneplathen, again this is the then for theosan from M. Pimplami, both his eyes were filled with blood, and it gets worse, to anastoma, so canon from Casco, having gaped open his mouth. Prese is from pretho, to blow out. So having opened his mouth, he blew out it. I think the top is for the hyma. So having opened his mouth, having gaped open, he blew out the blood anastoma through his mouth and his nose. Rinas from ris. Rather ghastly description here. And the last bit here is a black cloud of death, amphicalypsen, covered around him, so descended upon him. The black cloud of death descended upon him. And that is the next part of book 16.